Iowa Live.
From the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, welcome to Iowa Live. I am Lou, and it is that time to check in with our friend Kim Baer from the Baer Law Office, and we might add the 8-time champion of City View's Best Of a week ago today.
Yes,
as a matter of fact, it was announced. How cool is that?
Oh, I know. We're always so touched by the fact that we won that award. I think over 16,000 people voted.
Wow.
So that's great. And so, yeah, first winner for eight years in a row now.
That is awesome, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because the service is impeccable at the Baer Law Office, and today we're talking about something that is very important.
Yeah, I thought we'd talk about revocable trust. It's really important with regard to setting up your estate. If you have a house, if you've got farmland, usually we use it for real estate, and so if you want to make sure that you're taking care of your wife or your spouse or your kids or even your grandkids.
Okay. So explain what that is in the first place, so we understand it, because we've heard other terms for this as well, like living trust. Is that the same thing?
Yes. So a revocable trust and a living trust are the same thing.
Okay.
And an irrevocable trust is exactly what it sounds like. You can't make changes.
Oh.
I'm not a fan of irrevocable trust, and so when somebody comes into me and says that that's what they want, I typically will send them somewhere else.
Why would someone do that?
Because sometimes they want to make sure that other people can't change things. So, for example, let's say that I know I have Alzheimer's and I still am competent to make some decisions. Maybe I'm concerned, like this is what I want done, and I want to make sure nobody's going to make any changes. Now, we certainly can address some of those things in a revocable trust, but an irrevocable trust is just more difficult.
Okay, so let's go through the steps here.
Yes. So let's just use an example. Let's say that you own some farmland and you've been divorced or widowed and you've remarried and you have some children from your previous relationship. So we've got a wife that you want to take care of and we've got a couple of kids you want to take care of. So you could set up a revocable trust, and you could then, using a quitclaim deed, transfer that land into the revocable trust.
Okay.
And you could say, okay, I don't want this farmland sold. I want it to be rented, and I want the income to be used to support me, and then if I die, I want it to be to support my wife, and I don't want her to sell the land either. But then when she passes, or if she consents, the land can be sold by the children.
Okay.
So you can do things like that where you are protecting not only your wife but also your children.
Okay, and why do you want to use something like this rather than just lay that out in a will?
Because this will avoid probate.
Okay,
so,
explain what that is.
Yes. So if you have property and you pass and a probate is opened, the probate attorney typically will take at least 2% of the total estate.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so then you also have court cost. And sometimes the 2% is even more if it's a complicated situation. So what we're trying to do is avoid all those costs. And the other thing about a revocable trust is there's a lot more things that we can build into it. So with regard to your wishes. So I'm frankly surprised we don't do more of them. We probably set maybe 3 or 4 up a month. But I'm kind of surprised. When people come in to talk to me about a will, I usually talk to them also about a revocable trust.
Okay, so do you typically have both? Do you have a will and you have a revocable trust, or what are the others?
You can, but we try real hard to use the revocable trust to cover everything.
Oh, okay.
Now, having said that, though, usually we don't put personal property in a revocable trust.
Okay.
I've seen art collections go into a revocable trust. Usually we use it for real estate. So it's just one of those things you need to sit down with your attorney and talk about what you're trying to accomplish.
Okay, you mentioned somebody that may realize they have something that could affect their decisions in the long run, and this is really a way to be able to do this, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you have, dementia or Alzheimer's that runs in your family, or maybe, God forbid, you've been diagnosed with cancer, or you're just getting older and you're really concerned about your capacity to make decisions, then now is the time to set something up. Well, you can make these decisions and you can be very clear in your revocable trust.
Okay, how long does it usually take to set something like this up?
Usually about a week. I mean, usually
that's not that long.
It's not that long. I mean, we have the paperwork kind of all set up, and so we meet with the client, we draft something up, we send it to the client, we go through and explain what it means. Usually, we go through 3 or 4 drafts before we get something that everybody's comfortable with.
Okay, now is it a one-person type of document you can compile, or is it more people need to be involved?
That's up to you. That's up to the client.
Okay.
I mean, I have a situation right now where, well, I have two situations I'm working on where both of the clients said, I want my wife, because it was a new wife, I want my wife to review it. I want her to understand what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And, you know, and in one situation, I met with the wife and we walked through some things and then they decided to make some changes. So, or, I mean, you can, you know, do it yourself. But you have to remember, if you're married and you own real estate, your spouse has to sign off on the transfer of that real estate into the trust.
Okay,
So,
wonderful.
yes.
If people want to find out more information about this or just get in touch with you in general, what's the easiest thing to do?
Yeah, so just give us a call, 515-279-2000. We're always happy to talk and, you know, over the phone and see if we can help you out.
All right, Kim Baer, great job as always. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
On 8 times in a row at City View's Best of. We will be right back. This is Iowa Live.